Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to be going over some breaking news, really bombshell news Elon Musk just dropped for Tesla stock. He says that Tesla is about to go through quite a large rally, calling out Bill Gates and his legacy short position, if he is still short, that is. Now, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about all of your Tesla stock news, my expectations for this week, and some of your biggest events and catalysts coming. But first, go Lions, baby. Hit that like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Check that link out down below in the description of today's episode if you guys want to come join the trading community. Everything's about to change in this market. It's about to become the exciting market that I think a lot of people have been missing for a long time, okay? You've seen quite a crash out there, and I think it is coming to an end very soon. We'll discuss a little bit of that in today's video, but more of that in the video at 8 p.m. tonight, so stay tuned to the channel for that one. But with all of that said, let's get started with what Elon Musk just said about Tesla stock. Tesla owner Silicon Valley on X shared this post from Bar Chart that says Bill Gates Foundation dumped 65% of its Microsoft position for a total of $8.8 billion. Now, Tesla owner Silicon Valley says, dang, Bill is covering his Tesla short. Elon Musk commented on this and said, quote, if Gates hasn't fully closed out the crazy short position he has held against Tesla for 8 years, he had better do so soon. So Elon Musk is basically saying that soon Tesla stock is about to rally big time. And I think that's the conclusion that we've all come to already. Okay, now it sounds good to hear Elon Musk say that. Elon knows what's next for Tesla, right? Elon knows the big catalysts that are coming. Elon knows what the news is going to look like a month from now or 6 months from now or potentially a year from now, a lot better than anyone else does. So Elon Musk is hinting at big news coming soon. But even more just besides that, this market has been going through a bit of a crash for the last 2 months or so. Roughly like a week before the government shutdown started, which like 50 days, so almost 2 months now, stocks have been crashing. Okay, even Tesla at the lowest point from the recent high, not all-time high. If you want to use all-time high, Tesla had fallen about 22% at the low and still down about 17% from all-time highs. But from the recent high at about $474 per share, Tesla's stock is still down 15% and fell almost 20% at the lowest point. But Tesla's done well in this market, okay? Tesla is one of the outperformers in your portfolio if you own other stocks, that is, right? Oracle and CoreWeave and even Meta's down over 20%. All of those stocks are down over 20%. Smaller cap AI stocks, quality or not, down way more than that. And I think things are about to change in this upcoming week. But first, before we get into that, let's go over all of your other Tesla stock news today and take a brief look at option activity and what the short sellers did on Friday. In other Tesla stock news today, Gavin Baker on X says yesterday, Real Jim Chanos post cited that Tesla's relatively low capex meant that they were not a serious competitor in real-world AI and robotics. He goes on to say that, in the last paragraph here, Jim is a smart guy, but I humbly think his AI takes are misinformed. Also, so strange to me that anyone is focused on AI as a bubble, given the extremely obvious quantum and nuclear bubbles, where there are loads of equities that can decline 99% and still be overvalued. Elon Musk says exactly. The reason Tesla hasn't yet spent more on AI training is that it wasn't yet the limiting factor for FSD. It will be that for Optimus. So we're building Cortex 2 for training. Also in the news, Tesla just completed over 600 FSD supervised test drives in the last 2 days at the Everything Electric show in Melbourne, Australia. One more day left. Tesla has a fleet of 20 vehicles at the show. Elon Musk says that he just wrapped up the AI5 Saturday chip design review a few hours ago. We're starting to do some work on AI6 too. Michael Dell, he tagged Michael Dell, and I happened to be meeting just beforehand, so I invited him to join. Hopefully he found it interesting. By the way, AI5 will not be available in sufficient volume to switch over Tesla production lines until mid-2027, as we need several 100,000 completed AI5 boards, board line side. Michael Dell commented on this and tagged Elon Musk and said, quote, "It was super interesting and I enjoyed it very much. The Tesla team is cooking and the future is even more exciting than I thought. Plus Grok 5 will be amazing. These two, man, they get along really well. There's gonna be some business venture coming down the line with Dell. Just wait on it." And here you could see again being reiterated by people like Sawyer Merritt. Elon Musk says that Tesla's AI5 hardware 5 chip will not be available in sufficient volume to switch over Tesla production lines until mid-2027. But, you know, hardware 4 is still plenty good enough. Now, Nick Cruz on X shared this comparable between AI5 and NVIDIA's Blackwell B200. 10% the cost of Blackwell, 330 to 400 watts per chip, which is 3 times less the power with a half reticle. It says here AI5 is hyper specialized for inference in Tesla's ecosystem, like autonomous driving, Optimus robots, and select data center tasks. There's obviously going to be a big difference between Tesla's chips and NVIDIA chips, right? Tesla's chips are going to be designed specifically for what Tesla needs. And, you know, that's how a single company should design their chips, right? But it's going to be powerful. Now, Elon Musk commented on this and said, quote, "Looks like we can bring power consumption down closer to 250 watts, which is a big deal for Optimus. Important to note that AI5 is a specialized inference chip for the Tesla AI software. That said, it will perform for our purpose much better than anything else available. To borrow Jensen's phrase, we wouldn't use any other chip in our cars and robots, even if they were free." And before we get into what could be coming next for Tesla stock specifically, and what I think Elon Musk means by some of these cryptic messages and overall discuss Tesla a little bit more in depth, the option activity on Friday was pretty slow versus Thursday. Thursday had $1.8 billion worth of option activity with a positive order value of 87%. On Friday, you had $138 million of option activity with a positive order value of 64%. So it was a slower day on Friday, but you did see a nice recovery in markets and in Tesla from the low of the day, which was definitely a good sign. Now, you did have about 680,000 shares or so that were sold short by hedge funds and institutions on Friday. They're going to come to regret that highly in this upcoming week. Now, short interest as well has risen from about 2.6% to about 3.1%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's like 13 million shares, I believe, 10 million shares, something like that, that has, in addition, been sold short recently, which is quite a lot. Now, again, as I said at the onset of this video, Tesla stock has done a lot better than other AI stocks, okay? Tesla is like top tier right now as far as market performance, which sounds crazy considering the stock is still down like 17% from all-time highs and down like 14% from recent highs. But just compare this to, let's pull up a chart of Meta, okay? Meta is down from its recent highs 19, almost 20%. At the low, it was down about 22%, and that's from its recent high, not all-time high, okay? From Meta's all-time high, Meta is still down over 20. I hate when it does that on Webull. Like, it blocks out the percentage. Still down 23.5% from its all-time high. Down 25% from the low. Look at Oracle, another one that has come under a lot of scrutiny recently. Shout out Michael Burry for that one. Fucking had to come in and ruin the AI party. Okay, Oracle's down 35.5% from its all-time high, which was a recent high. Yeah, Tesla looks pretty damn good. Okay, people are voting with their dollars, and Tesla is clearly going to be a winner. Now, we're going to talk about this market in this upcoming week in just a moment. Some of the few catalysts coming that are going to be really impactful for, Tesla stock and the broader markets. But the first thing I really want to say is Elon Musk is back, okay? Like, just over this weekend and just some of the things I've shared with you is more we've got out of Elon, I feel like, in a very long time. That is because he now has a compensation package. He is now contracted to be Tesla's CEO for the next 10 years. He is no longer working for free. He's working for a goal and a purpose, okay? There's, something about human nature. You have to be progressing towards something. People, there's a video on YouTube. Look it up. It's called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It changed my life 7-8 years ago when I first listened to it. Just listen to it. It sounds old. It is old. Repurposed and, put on YouTube. But he says in the video, we didn't build a staircase that leads nowhere. Like, humans need a purpose. And Elon, being the person he is, with the purpose to grow Tesla and to execute, is working in your favor heavily at this point. Imagine what Tesla stock would be doing, or where Tesla would be at right now, if the markets did not just go through this mini palpitation around AI. Just imagine. Tesla would be well into the 500s right now. Well, I think that is likely coming soon. In this upcoming week, we are going to have NVIDIA earnings. NVIDIA earnings is going to be the big catalyst for this week. Okay? We are going to get some economic data as well, though, on the 20th, which I believe is Thursday. Yep. We're going to get the September jobs report. I know it's not October. It's not October CPI as well. We got the September CPI report because of the Social Security cost of living adjustment. But I think the fact of the matter is the Trump admin knew it was a good CPI report, and that's why they put it out there. But we are going to be getting the jobs report for September. And honestly, at this point, I think any data is probably good for this market. Now, to a certain extent, if it's really bad, then that's obviously not great. But it alleviates some of the uncertainty. Let me put it to you like this. If you're a hedge fund or institution and you're thinking of risk factors right now, okay? Like, whenever you go into a trade, especially a trade, you always want to think about, like, what could go wrong? What could go right? What's the most likely outcome ahead? All of that, right? That's a risk model, essentially, okay? You can get a lot more complicated with this, with, standard deviations and probabilities and whatnot. But just to keep this very simple, if you're a hedge fund and institution and you're like, okay, government shut down, the economy was in a weak place, doesn't look like we're going to be getting economic data anytime soon. There's concerns about AI, Michael Burry, blah, blah, blah. Who cares about any of that? That doesn't matter at all, in my opinion. The easiest thing to do in that environment is to short this market, to sell stocks and to deposition. It's a no-brainer. Like, the economy was in a weak place, and now even the Fed is delusional and compromised, and you're not getting economic data. That's not a good situation to be in. But if you're short right now and you're like, oh shit, we're going to start getting data soon, then the risk goes from, okay, markets are probably going to fall or trend lower. That's the highest likelihood. To then we're going to start getting economic data. Maybe that causes a reversal in markets. You know, it changes the probabilities of what is going to happen next for markets. And I'll tell you right now, if nobody has ever told you this, you're watching the wrong people on YouTube or listening to the wrong people. You know, markets are exceptionally good at handling bad news. Bank failures, bank runs, you know, COVID, doesn't matter what it is, right? Markets are good at handling bad news. They're great at handling bad news. Markets almost cannot even process uncertainty. Markets have a very difficult time with uncertainty. Humans do. So it makes sense, right? Like, if you get a call from someone and you're like, and or text, I'm sure you guys have been in this situation, and they're like, we really need to talk when you get home. Like, I don't want to go home, you know? Or it's like, you know, tell me what we're talking about, you know? I remember one time, I was probably like 15, and I got a cat like a week or two before, and I got a text from my mom and grandma that we need to talk when you get home. And I'm like, okay, great, awesome, not cool. I you know, what's going on? And they're like, we'll just talk when you get home. They're crying in the living room because the cat got hit by a car. And I'm like, really? You had me freaking out because, you know, I thought like a family member died or something crazy. Yeah, still sad. And the cat's name was Kilo. It looked like a kilo. This cat was cool though. It would get in like Walmart plastic bags, and I would just like walk around with it like in the house. It was a cool cat nonetheless. The point is, humans do not like uncertainty. Nobody does. It's a universal rule of thumb. But we're pretty good at handling bad news and overcoming obstacles. Okay, once the uncertainty starts to go away with the economic data, whether it's good or bad, okay, that turns into what I would view as a positive catalyst for this market. You ever wonder why a stock just gets beat down before earnings, and then earnings come out and the earnings are terrible and the stock goes up? Because people were uncertain and scared that they were going to be worse than expected. You get the idea, okay? So that's kind of the basic principle. I think the economic data that we are going to get at this point is going to be better than expected, okay, or better than feared. Because right now, people are very scared. You know, people are not bullish at all. It's just, this is one of the most fearful moments I've seen in markets for a long time. And it's misplaced, I think, in the largest sense, okay? I don't think the economy's headed towards a recession. I don't think AI is in a bubble. It's impossible AI is in a bubble. Unless, you know, AI were to just fizzle away. Like, you know, you don't have bubble qualities in AI. I do think some areas of quantum or some areas of like nuclear, you know, some stocks that are not going to have revenue for 5 years, or, you know, you could make an argument that those areas are in a bubble. Wall Street's not even talking about those though. And, you know, AI's the easy target. Now, getting back to Tesla. Once we get this news coming out this week, this economic data, NVIDIA earnings, dude, Jensen Huang just came on like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and said AI demand is better than it's ever been. It just continues to grow. I don't think anything changed in the last 3-4 weeks. In fact, I know nothing has changed. Why? Because companies are fighting for survival. Do you think Google can stop spending on AI right now? No. Okay. What kind of question is that? That goes for all of them, okay? They're all fighting with each other to gain new market, to keep their markets that they currently have. You think Microsoft's going to stop spending on AI when CoreWeave, Nebius, and these data centers are on their ass? No, probably not, okay? Pretty logical assumption. Okay, it's misplaced. Now, I think for Tesla specifically, one of the next waves of AI, you know, there's going to be a lot of waves of AI. There's going to be hype around healthcare AI at some point, robotics, and different areas. But I think one of the next big waves of AI is likely real world AI, where, companies are actually going out and people are using AI products and services. And I think that hype, the best place for that is Tesla, because Tesla is breaking into multi-trillion-dollar markets, fresh on the scene, okay? And there's not really any market leaders there. It's kind of everyone's market for the taking. So I don't know if that's the next wave of AI, real world AI, but I think it's coming next year. Now, between now and the end of this year, Tesla is going to trade off of broader market sentiment, what the Fed does, how the economy is doing, blah, blah, blah. But the bigger picture is very positive for Tesla. And I think in the near term, we probably hear kickstart an end of the year rally once we start to get some economic data that starts to come out, and once Nvidia does report earnings. Now, we don't have a ton of broader market news to share with you, but this could be important. Bessent targets Thanksgiving for a China trade deal. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the Trump administration aims to complete its trade agreement with China by Thanksgiving, November 27th. Speaking to Fox News, he dismissed a Wall Street Journal report as inaccurate, noting the deal is still unfinished. Bessent added he is confident China will honor the agreement after the upcoming meeting between President Trump and Xi, and emphasized that Washington has many levers if Beijing does not comply. Bessent also said, "I am confident China will honor agreements on rare earths." So let me know your thoughts on all of this down below in the comments section. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, and by the way, did I mention? I know I did at the beginning of this video, but I don't think I did in the middle of the video. Check that link out down below in the description of today's episode if you want to come join the trading community. Okay, we'd love to have you over there. Welcome you with open arms, and hopefully many dollars in profits. Not a financial advisor, not a financial planner, but we're going out to find the next big winners in AI. That is it. Have a great rest of your day. Go Lions, baby. And I will see you in the next one.